Advanced Studio Classroom is on the air. Enjoy Disney theme parks around the world. Hello, friends, and welcome to Advanced Studio Classroom. I'm your host, Joe, and joining me again on our 3-day Disney extravaganza, I have David. Welcome back, David.
Hello. Good to be back, man. Looking forward to traveling the world.
I know. We're leaving the United States, and we are going around the world to enjoy Disney. And joining us once again is Hazel.
Hi, everybody. I'm ready to go to Disney International.
Disney International.
Sure.
And so this is actually, your excitement for this got me thinking about this. But David, would you go to another country and check out a Disney theme park? You've never been to a Disney theme park.
Yeah, I've never been to a Disney theme park. But, I mean, I think, why not? Sure. I think I'd be willing to give it a try.
And I think, Hazel, you're ready to go.
Yeah, this sounds great to me. And especially in the next section, we'll talk about some that are pretty close to where we are here in Taipei. So.
So there are some offerings close to home. And that's kind of the interesting thing is that, this article is written, and I think it's important to keep in mind, it's written from an American perspective. And so when we talk about Disney theme parks in Asia, the author's talking about it as if it's just worlds away.
Right.
Right. Whereas those of us in Taipei and, neighboring areas, this is just a skip and a hop, really.
Right, exactly. That's kind of why I was saying, I'd be more willing to travel and go to a Disney park because now there's one right next door.
Right.
Going up to Japan, or something like that.
Disney Hong Kong.
Yeah, Hong Kong, all that kind of stuff. It sounds pretty cool.
It's really interesting. And what I like about this is that they're not just replicas. They're not just exact copies of what we get in the United States. They all have something a little different.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So I think you should put that on your schedule to visit every Disney park in the world.
That's right. And David, there's something special about how we're going through these theme parks. So what's going on with these decades?
Oh, well, these decades are different suggested times in your life when you could visit these different parks. Kind of stretching your Disney experience to make it something that you can enjoy for your whole life.
A lifetime experience.
A lifetime experience.
Right. So if you live to be 100, that would be 10 parks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can fit in 10 different adventures.
Yeah, 10 different adventures.
Well, we're going to start to look at your 20s with Disneyland Paris.
Your 20s, Disneyland Paris. As it becomes more convenient to travel abroad, Disney lovers might want to consider 2 international parks. Covering 4,800 acres, Disneyland Paris comprises 2 theme parks, Disneyland Park and Walt Disney Studios, multiple resort hotels, a shopping, dining, and entertainment complex, and a golf course. Disneyland Park takes the Magic Kingdom concept one step further with perhaps the best iterations of Big Thunder Mountain on its own island and Space Mountain. Meanwhile, Walt Disney Studios is dedicated to all things show business, allowing visitors to experience stunning effects, cool animations, and exciting rides.
So now it's becoming more convenient to travel abroad. So you're a little more independent. You're not a kid anymore. You're not necessarily going with mom and dad.
Right, yeah. So and they suggest here that it would be a good time for you to consider maybe trying some international parks.
Right. So they talk about 2 international parks. And so this Disneyland Paris sounds absolutely huge, Hazel.
It does. It's comprised of 2 theme parks. So comprises means what what does it entail? What does it encompass? What is it exactly? What does it include? Might be an easier way to say it. Okay, so we're going to Paris, and sounds good to me. You've got the Disneyland Park and Walt Disney Studios.
And what's crazy, what's really interesting here is it's so big, it's 2 theme parks, even though it's one overall kind of park, Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, it's got multiple resort hotels, shopping, dining, entertainment. It has a lot of different things going on. So it's sort of like, you're going to get the excitement of some of those rides and stuff. We'll talk about that later. Actually, they got a really good Thunder Mountain. Right? But then you also get some good shopping and stuff like that. And you're in Paris. So, I mean, like, hey, go see the Eiffel Tower, go ride Thunder Mountain. It could be a great experience.
I hope that it's bilingual. I don't know any French.
I only know French fries?
French fries?
No.
No.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to do. There's even a golf course there. Right. And so, we'd say colloquially that it has all the bells and whistles.
All the bells and whistles.
It has kind of everything that you would expect this sort of massive theme park to have. And at 4,800 acres, it's just huge.
Yeah. And it also has one of the best iterations of Big Thunder Mountain. I know I mentioned Thunder Mountain earlier. I should say that there are several of the parks have a Big Thunder Mountain, but this park has one of the best iterations of Big Thunder Mountain.
Right. And iteration is just kind of that version, right? That version of Big Thunder Mountain.
So what do you mean by Big Thunder Mountain?
Oh.
Well, it's a Thunder Mountain, but this is a big Thunder Mountain. No, I think it's just like, it's I think there was like some water rides involved. I forget exactly what it is.
Oh,
but
this is a roller coaster.
This is a roller coaster.
Yeah,
You've been on it, right?
I've been on the one in the original Disneyland.
Oh, I thought it was a Disney World original. Is it Disneyland?
I'm pretty sure they have a Thunder Mountain. It's like a little mining railroad roller coaster.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
The original one isn't real big, but it's fun because you're going in and out of a mountain again, and like gold miners and things like that. It's just kind of fun, like an old-fashioned engine with the woo-woo,
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun.
I remember the one in Disney World it had like kind of like a wooden roller coaster sort of
Something
feel.
like that, yeah.
Oh man,
I like those wooden ones. Yeah,
So this is the best version of that. It sounds like it must be really big and
well, if they built it on its own island,
which is wild. Oh, you saw the pictures?
Yeah, I saw some pictures of it, and I mean, it's huge. Like it looks like it's an actual mountain. It's really amazing. So so they've got this really great version of Big Thunder Mountain, and they also have Space Mountain.
Right, and this apparently may also be a really good version of it as well.
Because it's said because it's in that sentence of being best iterations of Big Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain. So apparently, it's also got a really good Space Mountain, too.
Right. I think the Disneyland also has Space Mountain,
Disneyland
right?
has a Space Mountain. And when it's a mountain, and when you go in it, it gets dark.
Dark.
Yeah. So you don't know where you're headed or which way you're going. And, of course, Space Mountain is kind of more futuristic. And the Big Thunder Mountain is more, back in the gold mining days, a century or so ago. And so it's very different.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was too scared of Space Mountain. I think I was like 10, and my sister tried to convince me to get on, and I just couldn't do it. I think I even stood in line, and I got close, and I freaked out.
We were on it, and it actually stopped. And then you're thinking, uh-oh, is something wrong? Is the rest of the ride going to be okay?
Yeah.
Why would they stop us mid-ride? So it was kind of a real adventure there. Yeah. Obviously, we survived.
You're here today.
Yeah, you're here today, yeah.
Now, they also have the Walt Disney Studios.
Yeah, and the Walt Disney Studios is a special part that's dedicated to all things show business, which just talks about, when we talk about show business, we're talking about theater, we're talking about movie making, we're talking about those kinds of things. Usually it means something is very flashy.
Right. And here it allows visitors to experience stunning effects, cool animations, and exciting rides.
Sure. I think a lot of us are familiar with blue screen techniques. Maybe you can try that where you stand in front of a blue screen and they can put any background behind you.
Right.
So you can look like you're any place in the world or in an office, and that's the way they do a lot of special techniques. But I have a feeling it's way above that. You probably
I'm sure.
see all kinds of special effects and how they're done.
Yeah.
Oh, that would just be really exciting. And, so this, of course, is in Disneyland Paris. So, while you're going out and you're getting your culture in Paris and France, you can take a little bit extra time to do some Disney.
After you get your French bread, your baguette. And your cappuccino.
And your French fries.
And your French fries.
I'm joking about French fries.
Oh,
Apparently
I
they were
don't
made
even
in
think
Belgium.
they're...
Belgium, right?
Yeah, I knew a Belgian guy who said that he and some French friends had fought over this, but who invented the French? Well, that's another conversation.
That's a whole other.
That's a whole other
article.
radio. Yeah, it's a whole other radio show.
Well, now we're going into your 30s with some Disney theme parks that are close to home.
Your 30s. Shanghai Disneyland, Hong Kong Disneyland, and Tokyo Disney Sea. By your 30s, you'll likely have a bit more money and know-how to travel farther. There are 3 major properties in Asia: Hong Kong Disneyland Resort, Shanghai Disney Resort, and Tokyo Disney Resort. If you can, visit them all. Each one has its own magic kingdom, with Shanghai Disneyland being the newest. Here, visitors will discover the most elaborate Pirates of the Caribbean ride, as well as the lauded Tron Light Cycle Power Run roller coaster. Meanwhile, Hong Kong Disneyland exclusively highlights Mystic Manor, a more immersive variation of the Haunted Mansion. And in Japan, the 176-acre Tokyo Disney Sea beckons. It's considered by many to be Disney's crowning achievement in theme park design. Its attractions are intricately detailed as a sort of prelude to the Disney Cruise Line.
Now, again, this is coming from an American perspective. And so when it says travel farther, you have to think of, someone like maybe one of our panelists, maybe living on the East Coast of the United States, heading out to Asia is quite a trip.
Yeah, it's 17 plus hours or 15 plus hours, to come out this way. So for us, like coming out to Asia from, say, Philadelphia, unless you live in Chinatown in Philadelphia, it is a very, very big jump to make culturally in terms of
geographically.
Right?
Sure, a whole different cultural experience. Financially, you're investing a lot more in your vacation, and it says it's a little bit more money, but it sure would be a fun experience, especially for someone that's maybe never been overseas.
Oh, yeah. And so here they're saying that your 30s is a good time for this because you have that money and know how to travel farther. Maybe know-how here is just about the experiences, kind of life experiences.
Right. So maybe they've traveled overseas a little bit, or maybe they're used to traveling domestically in the States, but they know how to do it. They know that you need passports and how much luggage and what to take, and you think you're an experienced travel, so hey, why not go overseas to Disneyland or Disney World or a theme park?
Right. And so there are apparently 3 major properties in Asia, David.
Yep, and those properties are Hong Kong Disneyland Resort, Shanghai Disney Resort, and Tokyo Disney Resort.
And so here it says if you can, visit them all.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure whose budget can afford.
Well, you have 10 years to do it,
Oh, that's right.
Okay,
10 years.
yeah. If we're given, take your time. That's the thing.
However, if you're in the area, you could do all 3 at once if you're in Asia, but you probably wouldn't need to. I mean, I think if you're going to travel to Asia, there's so many things to see. Would you really want to hop from one theme park to another? Maybe. Depends on how long your vacation is.
I know I've had friends in Taipei who have centered their vacation around, going to Japan, they've centered on, Disney Tokyo or whatever. And, it's a interesting experience. But certainly if you're traveling really far, you don't want to, just do Disney.
Sure.
Right, yeah. Go out, get some of the history stuff.
Do you
like
know
that.
some of the differences between the 3?
They have slightly different attractions. The parades are different.
Okay.
The sort of cultural aspects they emphasize are a little different. So basically what they do is, each park was developed during a different time, right? You know, for instance, I think out of this list, right, we talk about Shanghai Disneyland being the newest. So they have a Tron ride. And so that Tron ride is quite unique from all of the different parks because when this was being constructed, they had just released, or they had released in recent years the Tron sequel, which is a kind of a sci-fi
Legacy,
right? Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy.
And so, so we actually get to our newest park, which is Shanghai Disneyland. And so what are some of the other things you can do there?
Well, you can discover the most elaborate Pirates of the Caribbean ride, as well as the lauded Tron Light Cycle Power Run. And here, lauded just means praised. Right?
I saw a video of this ride. It's amazing. So, you know, if you're not familiar with the movie, it's a 1980s, and then they also released a sequel in it was like 2012 or something. I can't quite remember.
There's a very popular band that did the soundtrack that made it even more popular.
Right. And so a light cycle is basically like a motorcycle. And so this theme park, it's like you're on a motorcycle bike. And so you're sort of leaned over and then doing a roller coaster ride. They have back braces, by the way. I watched a video. It's really incredible.
That looks so cool.
Yeah.
It sounds so cool. I didn't see it. It sounds amazing.
It really is. It actually makes me want to go there. As I was watching it, I was thinking, all right, booking my flight to Shanghai.
Yeah.
I think Pirates of the Caribbean sounds more fun to me.
Yeah, and it says it's very, very the most elaborate, right?
Yeah, so I know in Disneyland or Epcot or Disney World, you go through and you're on a boat and you see different. You see the villages on both sides and the pirates taking over, and you know the cannonballs firing over your little boat that you're on, and it's just the yo ho.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun. There's so much to see on those attractions, and if this is the most elaborate one, wow, that would be exciting. So you guys, while you're doing the Tron,
I'll see you over at the Pirates,
right?
We'll go to the Pirates, and then we'll meet in the middle.
That's right. And that's the thing, you know, there are all these very different versions of the ride. So you can have like 3, 4, 5 versions of, you know, Big Thunder Mountain, but they're all, you know, a little different. And here, you know, we get over to Hong Kong Disneyland, which also has something a little special.
It exclusively highlights Mystic Manor, which is a more immersive variation of the Haunted Mansion, which immersive variation here just means immersive means it makes you feel like you're really in it.
Right.
And variation just being there are different Haunted Mansion style rides.
Did you ever go on Haunted Mansion?
Yeah. I don't remember it being too scary, but that's the idea. Is it's supposed to be scary and dark
ride.
and people screaming and you're seeing skeletons and things like that. I don't quite remember, but that's not my kind of thing, but it's fun. When you're there, you might as well see it.
The ride effects are amazing. So basically, you're in a car and you have an open seat next to you, and when you go by mirrors in the Haunted Mansion, they'll show like a ghost or a skeleton sitting next to you that you can't see but only through the mirror.
That's
Stuff
so
like
cool.
That.
That's cool.
That's just really cool.
I like scary stuff, though.
And then there's a Disney theme park in Japan, Hazel.
Yes, and what does it say about Japan?
It's a 176-acre, and it's the Tokyo Disney Sea, and it says it beckons.
Yes, beckons means it's like saying, come here, come here. It's drawing you in.
And apparently, this is also like a very special kind of Disney park.
It calls it the crowning achievement in the theme park design. So we know that when we think of Japan, we think of things that are well made, well organized, clean. So Japan might be a good place to go.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
They're all a good place to go.
They're all good places.
Okay?
So hard
they're all
to
different.
choose.
They're all the same, but they're all different. And so it should be fun. Try all 3.
Oh, yeah. And then its attractions are apparently intricately detailed as a sort of prelude to the Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah, which is something we'll actually be talking about in one of the other, I think maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow we're talking about the Disney Cruise.
Yeah, but so it's, when we talk about intricately detailed, that means kind of like there are a lot of little details that are built into the park, designed into the park, that are all sort of pointing towards like, oh, the Disney Cruise is like the next level of this experience.
Right, that's where we get that prelude, right? So Here, the Disney Sea, you have that ocean kind of concept. It's just the beginning to get you interested in the Disney cruise.
Sounds good to me.
There we go. Well, after you leave your 30s, you've explored all of the Disney theme parks. You've been to Shanghai. You've been to Hong Kong. You've been to Tokyo. Now, we're going to look at a Disney resort and spa.
Your 40s. Aulani, a Disney resort and spa. When you're ready to start winding down a bit, and perhaps have teenagers of your own, Aulani in Oahu hits the sweet spot between leisure and play. Narratively, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and other classic characters are also on vacation, so you're in good company at the Hawaiian resort. Here, 2 towers shelter a volcano-themed pool area, complete with water slides, a lazy river, an interactive aquatic zone, a snorkeling aquarium, hot tubs, and more. Families can have lots of fun together, and adults can escape too, thanks to an 18 and over pool tucked quietly around the side near the pampering Laniwai Spa.
So you get to your 40s, you've had lots of adventures, and maybe, just maybe, you're looking for a break, Hazel.
Just maybe you start winding down, thinking it's time to relax a little bit. You don't need all the exhilarating rides. You just need to relax, take your time when you're winding down. Maybe you even have teenagers of your own or grandkids. Who knows?
Who knows?
Anyway, you find a sweet spot. It hits the sweet spot. And a sweet spot is a place that's perfect. It's right just where you want to be.
And it's just that sweet spot between leisure and play. So it's just right there. And I think, Hazel, you phrased it just perfectly. It's that perfect spot for it.
Right, yeah. There's on one hand you can relax. On the other hand, you can still do some fun stuff. And I like how, so all of the Disney parks, in some way, they have a certain narrative, right?
Right, there's a story.
There's a story, which is kind of runs through the different attractions and rides, right? So at this particular park, the narrative, the story of the park is that the Disney characters, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and all those guys are also on vacation. So it's like you're on vacation with the Disney characters.
Right. This is where themes start to take, they take a prominent place in that sort of narrative of the theme parks, because you're not just on vacation, Mickey's on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun. They'd have more time to spend with you if they're relaxing too, right? Sounds like there's 2 towers that shelter a volcano-themed pool. So even the swimming pool, I guess you can swim in it. Yeah, it's got water slides and everything. Yeah. So you got 2 towers, you got a volcano. It must be really fun. And, of course, that's what Hawaii is known for, volcanoes. And pools, places to swim, good weather. So complete with a lazy river. I like that. You get the idea of just a river that's flowing slowly and just a good place to relax.
I think lots of water parks have this kind of lazy river.
Nearly every theme park has a lazy river, right? And it's basically the same thing. In any case, it's you sort of sit in a little boat sort of thing. Usually, a lot of times it'll be on a track or something, and it'll just be a pretty gently flowing river, man-made river. And there'll just be a lot of stuff to look at, maybe a little waterfall, and it'll just kind of go along. And it's just a very relaxing ride.
I remember being on a lazy river where you're kind of on a little tube or a raft.
Yeah.
And there's no track. You just it's because it's a very slow-moving river. And you just sort of float along. And it's kind of a relaxing experience.
It's nice.
Yeah, it earns the lazy of the lazy river. It definitely earns that.
Yeah.
And apparently there's this interactive aquatic zone.
Oh, yeah.
Now, earlier, actually yesterday, Hazel was talking about how Epcot, they combine sort of rides and learning. And so we see that sort of repeated here, Hazel.
Yeah, they have a zone, interactive aquatic zone, and a snorkeling aquarium, hot tubs, and more. So I guess the interactive aquatic zone, maybe you can learn about things hands-on. experience maybe what it would be like underwater or with these creatures of the sea.
Right. And so, a lot of Disney, it's not just a sort of passive experience. They really encourage people to get, like Hazel mentioned, hands-on and really into it. And so you notice it's combining. You've got water slides, but you also have hot tubs. So you have just a little bit of everything.
It's the sweet spot between leisure and play.
There you go.
Volcano-themed swimming pool with a lazy river, right? Water slides and hot tub, like you said. It's a nice kind of thing. But it's also, one of the things that makes it this whole family experience is that the adults will still have a place they can kind of go to relax, right? So if they don't want to be in the volcano-themed swimming pool with all the kids splashing around, they can go to an 18 and over, which just means no one under the age of 18. And it's a little pool that's tucked quietly around the side near the pampering Laniwai Spa.
Right. Now, I like this kind of phrasing, tucked quietly away.
Yeah, it's a little bit hidden, and it's for 18 and over, so you don't have a lot of noisy kids.
Right.
So when something's tucked away, it's a little bit secretive, or you have to look for it.
Quite a few Disney parks have this kind of feature where most of it's family-friendly and open to everybody, but they'll have one part of the park or an area just outside of the main park that's just for the adults. So, you maybe have the older kids who are a little more independent. You say, oh, go on Space Mountain. I'm going to go over here now.
Yeah, I'm going to go, just have some sweet tea over in this little quiet area where there are no screaming kids and all that kind of stuff. It's nice to have it. It's a nice consideration that they've made.
Oh, definitely. Now, before we conclude today's lesson, I want to ask, personally, if you had to choose one of these parks to go to, which one do you think you would go to? Hazel.
Maybe Hawaii. I was going to say Tokyo. Tokyo because it's close to Taipei, but I guess if it were a free trip, maybe I'd go to Hawaii. Sounds like it'd be fun.
I think that would be really relaxing. I've been wanting to go to Hawaii, so I could see getting there, enjoying the kind of spa, water slides, and then doing some other stuff in Hawaii. What about you?
I don't know. I think I'd kind of want to go to Tokyo. Just because I've wanted to go there anyway, and it'd be kind of nice to see. I'm just so impressed by Japanese design elements. I would like to see their version of this kind of world, Right.
Now I'm talking about, I'm also still thinking about the Shanghai one. The choices. It's so hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah, you just have to go to all of them. Now, you might think, oh, wow, we've talked about Disney for 2 days. How much more could there possibly be? Well,
But wait, there's more.
There's a lot of other Disney theme parks. There's a lot of things to do. And we're going to be going on a cruise tomorrow. So be sure to join us for our next lesson as we talk about Disney cruises. This is Joe.
I'm David.
Hazel.
Saying goodbye.
Farewell.
Bye, everybody.